Hi, I'm Nelson Ford from the Gunsmith, Phoenix, Arizona, and I came across this little 32, and I learned a lot. I was charmed by it. Some things to know about it. It's different from all the other V-spring Colt double-action revolvers all the way up past World War II, in that the hammer on the double action fly has a leaf spring, a little leaf. I mean, I've been taking apart these little double actions and mediums, the officer's model match. There's 100 different ones, Detective Special, Colt Python. All the double action flies have a coil spring. And this little guy has a leaf spring. And I can't explain to you, 45 years of busting these things open and busting my brains working on them, I have never seen that. And this is only recent. This is in the last 3-4 weeks. And I had to cover this action. Another thing is the cylinder stop that comes up through the frame that always worked on a coil spring, as far as my brain knew on the double action Colt. It operates with leaf as well. And the trigger return bar is split. There are two pieces. The main bar that returns the trigger and used to have the cam on it for the cylinder stop, and now it's got a complete leg out there. I'm going to bust them down and show you because they're just so cool. And I thought I'd already have them apart, but my son here thought it would be a good idea if I broke the guns down in front of you. I should start with taking the cylinder out. It's on the right side. It's like I think it's a cup screw with a spring and plunger behind it. No, this is the early one. It interfaces with the yoke stop. The screw interfaces with it, and it holds it in place. There are two parts there. So I'm going to flip the cylinder out. I'm going to pull the yoke forward and bring the cylinder up off the gun. And then this is something people should pay more attention to. When they take their side plates off, and of course I go crazy when people take their guns apart. There's a Q&A that I'm probably going to deal with next, where a guy says he took his side plate off, and when he put it back on, all the parts were sluggish and tight, and he loosened up the screws a little bit. Now they're better. And that's on a Smith. When you take your screwdriver and pry it up, there's that big cutaway in it for the hammer block. They put it in 1944, 1945, and it weakens the side plate, and when you pry it, that's where it folds. So when you put it back on and try to put screws in to bring it down, it pushes the center down on the action. It tries to hold all the parts, tight, and your action doesn't work as well. You back the screws off and you find it works better. What's happened is the side plate got bent like this, and then you put it back on and you try to force it on, and it's trying to hold the parts too tight. And so what I always do is I just tap it with the head of a screwdriver like that until it pops up. There's the talk. I lost my thumb release latch. I'm doing everything backwards. I'm not at my bench. I don't have my regular screwdriver, but the latch we don't need right now. Cylinder release latch. So here's the action, and I'm going to pull a couple of parts out here. It's a little laborious, but my editor told me we should do this right here in front of you. Good idea or bad idea? Right now I'm not sure. I don't have my regular tools, but it's good to try to work in the field without them. So we got the V-spring out. Your trigger return bar is right here. I'm going to use this actual drill bit to get it out. There's the pin that holds it in place. I'm going to pull the hand off the trigger. Then our trigger return bar comes out. And here's the hammer with a coil spring. I grabbed the wrong gun. Hi, I just realized, so we switched guns here. I just realized I had two guns that were similar, and I took the wrong one apart, and I went to show you the leaf spring in the double action fly on this hammer, and it's got a coil. And it's also got the safety system that all comes out as one piece. Well, it's three pieces with the trigger. And the one I wanted to show you, there's the cylinder release or cylinder stop, a teeter bar that works off the cam on the trigger return bar. And I wanted to show you the leaf spring here and on the hammer, and it's in this gun. These are empties. I test fired this gun earlier to make sure it works. So this is perfect because I've already got a gun apart that I can have all the comparison parts for you to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick disassembly on the other one. Hope it goes just as smooth. Can't see. I just noticed this one is a square butt. This is a very early gun right here. This is the later model. This is the 1904 and later with the safety system. This is the 1896 that did not have the safety system in it. And I don't have to worry about mixing up parts because these parts are, the guns look dead similar, but the parts are different. There's that two-piece. There are empties in this cylinder. I like to leave them in there too when they're empty so that for dry firing purposes. You can also see that the latch on this model has a nice easy hook to use, and I think it's a better one than the knurled rounded one, and we'll get a shot of that for you too. It's another change that occurred from the 1896 to the 1904 safety system. Although they ran this gun till 1907, probably using up parts, and when the new gun came out, they wouldn't sell as quickly, so they just put them together and sold them when they could. I'm going to tap it, get that side plate to pop up, get these side plates next to each other with the different thumb release latches, and now I'm looking at, this is not a gun that's easy to take apart, but if you watch me, there's a lot of clever guys out there, and I've been surprised more times than once of watching people take their guns apart at home. There are a lot of clever people. Pull the hand out, and you can see the trigger return bar also has a second job. We'll put it next to the other trigger return bar. It has a second lever on it, and that works. This pin comes out with this trigger. That works the cylinder stop, and that cylinder stop has a little leaf spring. This little cylinder stop has a coil, and the same thing goes on the hammers. We'll get you shots of all this. I have never seen a leaf spring behind a fly and a hammer in my life. Of course, they wouldn't be there. And this thing, the double action fly was a little weak. I had to get in there and bend it just a little bit. Also with the cylinder stop, this one was a little weak, and I pulled that little tiny leaf spring out of there, and I bent it a little bit. And now it's a risky move because creating leaf springs, I had to do it at the Colorado School of Trades, is no fun. And it would also hurt to lose the original one as much as it would hurt to have to make another one. So this one's got no cutaway in the frame for the safety system. You see all the parts coming off the trigger there, that's the safety system. This trigger is by itself, it just has the hand with it. You know, and this also has a hand that runs off of it, but there's no safety system. The leaf springs have one thing that the later models don't have. They're pretty much identical, but they have a little spike sticking off the bottom of them, and that sticks into the frame. There's a hole in the frame for that little spike to keep that spring from moving back and forth. When you take apart a Python made from 1956 to whatever, 93 or whatever, they're hard to put in and take out because they can move around a lot. These can't because they have them pinned down. So So this is really all I wanted to do. I was so thrilled when I got this gun in house to clean it, and I started taking it apart. And I thought to myself, this gun is different from the other guns. And I've taken apart 500 of these. If I've taken apart one easily, and I've never seen one without the safety system, with this cylinder stop, with this trigger return bar, without the safety system, and with the leaf behind the hammer. I am familiar with the early cylinder release latches. I've seen these on, they were using up a bunch of them on the large frame new services, maybe 1917s, before they went to the nice knurled round one. But I thought that meant a lot to me, and I wanted to do a little video on it. We're going to do World War II, and I know a lot of people are waiting for that, but I'm still trying to get an Ithaca or possibly a Union switch and signal. That'll be pretty hard. And gosh, I've got a Remington for it and a Colt, Colt with a really interesting story on it too. Was on the Tennessee during World War II. So anyway, that's our Colt double action here of small frames. This one is obviously an 1896 model, and I think I just saw another thing that's a little different. The way the frame, the trigger guard is narrower. I just realized that it's narrower on the earlier model. They went to a wider trigger guard on the bigger one. You can see where the side of the frame comes down and drops off. Guns are fun, and when you find the early ones like this, you see lots of differences. And remember, in 1896, not only did Colt come out with this small frame, but Smith came out with its first swing-out cylinder, swing-out cylinder gun. And this is not the first in 1896 for Colt swing-out cylinders. Of course, they had the 1892 Army or Navy. It was a 38, and the military found it not powerful enough at some point for military engagements. But the 1892 is a well-known swing-out cylinder Colt. So there's our early little 1896 and later little small frame 32s. I love little guns. I hope you do too. We've got a great box of period ammunition here, two-piece box, and that's a lot of fun to look at. It's missing some of its BBs, but that's cool stuff. Send me your questions and comments, and you shouldn't take these apart either. They're really nuts.